This is the injury report presented by NYU Langone Health. The Owls' Alexander Romanov is set to miss 5 to 6 months, and he's going to have shoulder surgery after Mikko Rantanen's hit. Excuse me, we all know that was a cheap shot last Tuesday. So in today's injury report, we're speaking with Dr. Ariana Lott, who specializes in shoulder and elbow surgery at NYU Langone, about Romanov's road to recovery and when he'll be back on the ice. Doc, thanks for hanging out with us. Glad that you were a specialist on this, because you, better than anyone, can speak on this. So what exactly is being repaired in his shoulder, and how serious is the structural damage, do you think?
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I'm not his orthopedic surgeon. I don't have access to his medical records, but presumably, given the injury film and what's being reported, presumably he has an injury to what's called the labrum of the shoulder. And the labrum of the shoulder, because the shoulder is such an unstable joint and has such good range of motion, the labrum in the shoulder is designed to constrain the joint. And so if a shoulder dislocates or subluxes or goes a little bit out of place, then you injure the labrum of the shoulder, and presumably that's what they're repairing with the surgery.
Okay, so what's the realistic timeline for this surgery and for him to get back to full contact, like full NHL contact, not just the skating, and what setbacks could it could extend that timeline?
Yeah, so typically, the team is reporting about 5 to 6 months, which sounds very reasonable with this type of procedure. In order to get our players back to sport, we need them to have full range of motion and also full strength. And so any hiccups or discrepancies with his range of motion or his strength during his rehab could then prolong that timeline.
Okay, so given how physical this kid is, and I mean, fast paced, he's got a high impact playing style. How likely is this surgery to fully hold up, and is there any long term risk of that reduced mobility or even re-injury?
Yeah. So these are, relatively very successful surgeries, especially for our athletes. But given, as you mentioned, the high contact nature of hockey and the physicality of his play, he'll always be more at risk for injuring the shoulder in the future.
Mm.
As you mentioned, because we're tightening up the shoulder or reattaching the labrum, some of our athletes can have some reduced range of motion, which, depending on player position, sport type, can make a difference. In hockey, in his position, I think it's less likely to make a difference, but that's always a consideration for him.
Okay, so $1 million question here. How would you treat a patient that's not a professional athlete? Like, what would the surgery, rehab, and recovery time look for someone without a full training staff at their service?
So for our regular everyday athletes, return to sport, I typically quote around 6 to 9 months. If they don't have the amazing staff similar to the Islanders, it typically takes them a little bit longer to get back to doing their sport or everyday activities. And so I typically quote, like I mentioned, 6 to 9 months to get back.
They don't have the amazing athletic training staff of the Islanders, but they do have the amazing staff over at NYU Langone Health and you, Doc. So I think they come back better than Romanov. Thanks for hopping on with us, and thank you for giving us information about that surgery.